Aviation. Ocala Aviation is conveniently located at the Ocala International Airport. So if you're ready to start your adventure, stop by or give them a call today. 861-7484. That's 861-7484. You'll be glad you did. I know I am. Ocala Aviation. Call today. 861-7484.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala!
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. It's time for Veterans News. Hank Whittier is in the studio. Good morning, Hank.
Oh, you're always surprised when you say that, Larry.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's a surprising event. Dawn was singing along with Kate Smith there. Did you date Kate Smith at one time? Weren't you dating Kate Smith? You were dating her? Kate Smith?
Which one?
The other Kate Smith.
I can't hear. I got my hearing aids in.
Hey, listen, we have a lot of police officers killed in action this morning. Well, I think one firefighter and a couple of military also killed in action. So we'll do that first, obviously.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and start off with the firefighter. We have Captain Jason Farley of the Claremore Fire Department in Claremore, Oklahoma. Captain Farley was killed while rescuing people in that awful flood out west. And again, several police officers, law enforcement officers, all killed in the line of duty. We have Sergeant Iris Smith, whose end of watch was May 25th, 2015. Sergeant Smith was with the Mississippi Department of Corrections. We have Officer Nigel Berner from the Rio Ranchero Police Department in New Mexico. His end of watch was May 25th of 2015, and he was killed in the line of duty while making a traffic stop. We have Patrolman James Bennett Jr., who was with the Housing Authority of the New Orleans Police Department. He was killed on May 24th, 2015, as a result of an ambush. And we have Inspector Robert James Bowling of the North Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles and Driving. He was killed in a vehicle crash. His end of watch was Thursday, May the 21st, 2015. And we have also Detective Carrie Orzako of the Omaha Police Department in Omaha, Nebraska. Her end of watch was May the 20th, 2015, and she was killed while attempting to serve a warrant. And Hank, I believe you got some Department of Defense
specialties? Yeah, I do have two military casualties. First one was U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Pablo Ruiz. He was 37 from Melbourne, Florida. Killed in Afghanistan. And then Petty Officer Third Class Ryan Burse, 24. He was from Illinois. He was also died in Afghanistan. And I think, do you have somebody locally that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, we have a local. We've lost another World War II veteran, a longtime Legionnaire. His name is Thomas Michael Rowe. He was 89 years old. He passed away on May 24th. He enlisted in the United States Navy in 1943, and his service will be at Queen of Peace.
Yeah, those World War II guys leaving us at an accelerated rate. Okay, nobody else? Larry, if you would.
was blind, but now I see.
Okay, Larry, appreciate that. It always strikes me when we do the casualties and, all the controversy lately about shootings and unarmed civilians or sometimes armed civilians with the police office. But every week we read 2, 3, 4, 5 police officers killed in action. And it seems to me the national news media really doesn't give that the proper attention.
That's right. Good point.
And we notice it because we read the casualties. But you sit here and you watch what happens every week to police officers. They're sitting in their patrol cars murdered, or they're trying to do their jobs and they're murdered. And it's unfortunate when anybody innocent dies, that's for sure. And there are controversies that need to be looked into, but we need to think about what a tough job that is, and it is. All right, listen, we got some good news this morning. So, you never get good news from us, but you do get good news from some of our guests that come in. Mm-hmm. And Greg Slay is with TPO. He's the director, which is people probably better known as Suntran, and amongst other things.
That's
part of it. And you can kind of talk about what you do besides that, because I think a lot of people don't realize the scope of what you're doing. But he and I talked a couple of weeks ago about doing something for veterans, and thanks to him and his staff and the TPO board, that happened yesterday and go into effect June 1st. So I'll let you talk about it a little bit.
Well, thanks, Hank. I appreciate that. Just a quick nutshell of the TPO. We're actually the agency responsible for transportation planning throughout Marion County and the municipalities. And one of the unique functions that we have is actually the oversight and management of Suntran, our local bus system. And as Hank said, they approached us a few weeks ago to talk about some of the transportation issues that veterans have, both returning and those who have been around for a while. So we did a little bit of research and looked at some other areas around the state, and we're able to, effective June 1st, as Hank said, we're going to establish a half fare for any active military or active or retired veterans or those with a VA card. So we're extremely happy to be able to provide that service and look forward to working with the group to see what we can do here in the future.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to, you're right, we're going to have ID. You just can't get on the bus and say, hey, I'm a veteran. You need a VA card, or you need a card that says you're retired military or active duty, and show that to the driver, and the fare is half price.
Right, that's correct.
So, and we did that mainly, as I said at the board meeting the other day, my first thought is for a lot of the low income and veterans that we deal with, and there are a lot of them out there through no fault of their own. They're on fixed income, or they're young fellows and women just getting out of the service and haven't got their job yet, and they're kind of on limited income. And for a lot of us, saving 75 cents doesn't sound like a big deal. But for these people, it is. It is a big deal if you're riding that bus into the VA clinic a couple of times a week, or you're looking for a job and that's the only way you can get around town. So thanks to Greg and the board, they agreed with us that we need to do something for these veterans and active military personnel. And that's a good way of showing the county's commitment to veterans. So starting June 1st, if you can provide that documentation and that proof, fares will be half price. So that's a great thing. Again, I was talking in the lobby about this county commission and this city council, how much easier they are to work with some of the ones I did in the past. This is a group that does care about veterans. They do a lot of things that we don't talk about all the time behind the scenes, and I've never gone over there where after I present the case that they didn't try to figure out a way to help out. So that's true of the county, and that's true of the city. So we got a good thing going, and then we got people like Greg here who you don't know him. He's behind the scenes sort of guy that you wouldn't normally know. But people are always trying to figure out a way they can help veterans and work with us to make life just a little bit easier on veterans, particularly those veterans who are on fixed incomes or low incomes. And Again, to you and I and most of us, it doesn't seem to be a big deal, but it is a big deal because they come to my office and sometimes it's just a few dollars they're looking for because they don't have the money to ride that, and they'll help out.
Hank, we need to take a little break, and we'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. More sunshine than clouds today with a high of 82 to 89. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 63 to 72. Sunshine mixing with some clouds tomorrow with a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon. High 83 to 89. Saturday, clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm. Our high 84 to 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services. When your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements, from damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking: will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
All right, 18 minutes after 9 o'clock, 76 degrees. Let's return to Hank Whittier and Veterans News. Hank?
We were talking off the air about a couple of additional things we're looking at. And again, remember, this is a June 1st kind of trial and error for vets. There were probably a couple of little glitches along the way. We'll work them out. But, we were just happy that happened. We were talking about it in the office about some of the positive things that happen again, and for us that's a positive thing because we deal with the most veterans who are in need, so that's going to help them out. Gary, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Bob Wines, if we can. Right. And, of course, first, thanks to WOCA, or we wouldn't be able to bring you Veterans News Hour
I already
every
told
week.
you to say that.
No, I lied. I
already told you to say that, didn't I?
I come out this morning, and it felt like it was still in the 60s. It had that little twinge of coolness. And right next to my back door, I keep my little plant hospital. People bring me their plants that are sick and stuff to revive. And I thank God that I can go to Bob Wines, and I can get everything I need to keep these sick plants and grow them into healthy plants. And it's just a wonderful thing. They've been keeping things blooming in Ocala since 1952, and that's as old as my wife, so that's a long time. They're located at 2610 Southeast 38th Street in beautiful Ocala. When it comes to your landscaping needs, Bob Wines has it. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. If they plant a tree, they will guarantee it. If it dies, they'll come back and give you another one. You can't beat a deal like that. And if you tell them you're a veteran, and make sure you tell them you heard about them on WOCA, you'll get a 10% discount. So get down there while the weather's still cool, and get them gardening needs in. And then we also want to thank our wonderful Ocala Ford dealers. And when we say Ocala, that's these Ford dealers that serve Gainesville, Leesburg, the Villages, and also Bellevue. Now, I often talk about my old Ford. It's a 97. It's 18 years old, and I finally had to put brakes on it this year. Whew. But Ford is dependable. It's American-made. It's built by Americans, so get down to your Ocala Ford dealer. If you need parts, they got them. If you want a used car and you don't want a new one, they got it. And if you don't want to buy or get a used one, they'll even lease it to you. So get down there to 2816 North Pine, right next to the Burger King in our beautiful Ocala, and talk to one of them friendly sales representatives.
My wife's been bringing all her dead plants. She's bringing them to you. Is that when you're rehabbing those plants?
I'm rehabbing plants.
Yeah, okay, very good.
Now, of course, I pray over them too, Hank.
Well, listen, she probably get some new ones from Bob Wines is what she really needs to do. And we do need to do some planting in the front yard, so I'll be over there. And, of course, our Ford is our friends. They've been with us a long time, and they're great people because they do a lot of things behind the scenes for veterans, too, just like Bob Wines does. Listen, besides that, we know Suntran, and we talked about what we're doing, what you're going to be doing with veterans, and that's a great thing. But what else does TPO do? I mean, you're kind of, since I've got you in a captive audience.
Probably the way I explain it best to folks is if you drive on it, walk on it, or ride a bike on it, we've had some involvement in either the planning or the funding of it. We do a lot of highway plans, work a lot with DOT. One of the big projects we've actually got going on right now is we're looking to develop a paved trail along the Florida Greenway to connect over to the Withlacoochee State Trail that would actually make the longest segment of paved trail in the state of about 85 miles. So that's something we're excited about. And we
is that a bicycle path?
Did a bicycle path, similar to what's over on Baseline,
okay.
But those things are proven to be huge economic generators for what they call ecotourism. We did a little bit of work last year and estimated once we can get that connected up, it's probably about a $15 to $20 million economic impact to the county every year, and really, develop our area into a world-class recreation area, more so even than it already is.
Yeah, and that seems to be the way we're heading. I mean, I know the county's talked about it a lot, and I guess the city has too. This whole ecotourism thing, and I'd rather be known for that than some of the things like Orlando and other things are known for.
Exactly.
But so you're part of that plan. Are those federal grants involved in that?
A lot of that stuff, especially with the trail, is federal stuff. But we work a lot with our road projects, a lot of state-funded projects and things like that. A lot of intersection improvements we're looking at doing, especially in downtown Ocala. In the 200 corridor and things like that. So pretty much anything transportation related, we've got some hand in it somewhere.
Traffic lights?
A little bit on the traffic light side. I don't do the day-to-day. I'm always quick to throw those guys under the bus. The day-to-day stuff we don't do, but some of the longer-term stuff is what we deal with.
Okay.
But if you got any questions, I can go back and
check it out. Okay. No, I just have a couple of intersections.
Everybody's always got a couple of intersections.
Yeah, there's a few of them. So I know there's a light here. It will change eventually, but
Is there transportation from Denellen and Bellevue?
Larry, unfortunately, no. Those from a transit standpoint are just a little far in terms of the cost to do those. Typically, our routes we have in Ocala and Silver Spring Shores run about $300,000 a year to operate. Once we look at a distance out to Denellen or something like that, you're probably talking $500,000 to $1 million a year to run a route like that. And there's not a lot of population in a lot of those areas, so it just doesn't make it cost effective to do something like that. We rely more on the services of Marion Transit to do that type of transportation.
In the forest, you have nothing that goes out to the forest?
No, just again, anything outside of kind of the what we call the core urban area, Ocala, Silver Spring Shores, is serviced by Marion Transit, and that's what we call paratransit, where you call in and they'll come out and pick you up and things like that.
Okay. The budget for that whole system is what for the whole?
Suntran's budget per year is about $2.5 million.
Okay.
And that's moving about. Last year we moved around 460,000 people.
Well, that's a lot of that's more than I thought. Really,
yeah.
I didn't
for
think
a
it was
system
that.
our size, that's actually pretty good. When we look at some of the metrics that we judge ourselves by whether there's other systems. We're actually probably one of the more efficient ones in the state from that standpoint.
How do we, for instance, Gainesville, I know, has a pretty extensive system.
Right.
I would imagine we run it a lot cheaper than theirs.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember what their costs are. I know they move about 2.5 million people a year, but a lot of theirs is right there on the campus with the college. You know, the college kids actually write it. I'll say for free, but their fees are actually built in, I believe, to their student fees. So that's a big plus up there.
Okay. And the budget primarily is a city, county.
Actually, there's four. The feds pay roughly 45 to 50%. The state covers about 25. Fairs cover about 15 to 20. And then the city and the county split what we call the local share, which is probably about 15%. Okay. So I'm pretty sure all those didn't add up to 100, but those are ballpark numbers.
And you've been there from the beginning, haven't you? Just about?
For Suntran, yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, I remember you've been, I hate to give your age out, but you've been around a long time.
Yeah, and I've been around a while, though.
Yeah. Well, you knew my wife, so that's why I said you've been around a long time.
I'm not touching that one.
No, yeah. I was trying to let you walk into it, but you didn't walk, so. Not like Gary talking about his wife's been around since 1952. So.
Yeah, I live in Citrus, though. We don't get the station out there.
You got to go home this afternoon, Gary. So, Gary, we got anything coming up that the folks need to go? But let me compliment Suzanne McGuire and all the folks that took part in Memorial Day celebrations and recognition. And great job, outstanding job. She always does a great job. Someone was telling me that there was a young man getting a little flippant with her, and she was like a first sergeant out there putting him in his place. So I said, that sounds like Suzanne. She doesn't take a lot of guff, but she does a great job every year. Great, and she works very, very well with the veterans group. So good girl. She's the volunteer coordinator with the school system. Does a great job. Gary?
Well, we've got a lot of things in the works as far as Vets Helping Vets goes. We're about 80% of the way on that mobile home. We're going to have our person in the mobile home and our block house. We're real close to that, right, Hank?
Yeah, very very soon. That's the project with Habitat, and there were some health problems that the folks we wanted to move into there had, but I think that's all over. So I think within the next 30 days they'll be in, and then the fellow who's moving into the double wide we have. Should be, I'm hoping, by July. So those are two big projects, and thanks to all of those who have given donations, those are two big projects that are about ready to pay off. So looking forward to completing them, and hopefully we'll have another home or two that we'll be working on soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We got Flag Day coming up. What's that, the 13th?
13th, yeah, I'm glad. Thanks for bringing that up. By the way, Congressman Yoho will be at the Livestock Pavilion in the North Building Friday from 9:30 to, I think, 11. Taking questions and answers along with some VA representatives. So if you're a veteran, you're welcome to go out there. And then Flag Day is the 13th down at the Boat Basin. That's always a good event, a celebration of the flag. And I think Congressman Nugent is speaking. That we usually attend because those folks are very good to us. It's non-political, even though it's put on by the Republican Women's Club here in Ocala. But it's nonpartisan. You're welcome to come down and join in that. That's a celebration of the flag, and we did. I think last year we spoke, and
we got to meet a lot of very interesting people too.
Yeah, history of the flag. Did a flag folding ceremony and the significance and the symbolism of the flag. So it's a good event to come, and that starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. You might want to get there around 9:30, and I think lunch is provided for a pretty minimum cost, and I forget what the cost was, but it's not much.
And a pretty good lunch we had last year, too.
Well, yours was free, so it's always good.
Always.
Yours is free.
Hank, do you want to take a phone call?
Sure.
If you put your headset on, you'll be able to hear.
Well, I don't. I'll let them listen and interpret.
You don't want to hear it. All right. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Hank, got a question for you.
No.
So watching the other day with all the congressmen down at the grand opening of the final opening of the VA center at the hospital down in Orange County in Orlando. And I had a question because I think there were even some congresspeople that represent this area that were there. I mean, they were, politicians and things like that. They turn out, even though things really, really scheduled to open, I guess, about a year or two ago. My question is this. What impact will that have on the services being provided by the vets here in Marion County? I'll hang up and Always.
Well, don't hang up yet. I think
I heard part. Lenny, I think that's Lenny.
Yeah.
Lenny, I heard part of what you had to say. Honestly, I didn't hear the whole thing. Could you give me?
Just repeat the beginning again, Lenny.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering what impact will the opening of the final opening of the VA center in Orlando down in Orange County will that have on the vets here in Marion County? Because I noticed there was a bunch of Congress people and some that even represent this area that were there, and so I was wondering about the impact.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think it's going to have a dramatic impact. I think we'll have some, maybe those folks living in the southern part of the county, in the southern, probably down towards the villages and down that way. It might have somewhat of an impact. But I think most folks are still going to travel up to Gainesville, and of course, the southern part of the county has the Villages VA, which is the state-of-the-art clinic. With almost as many things to offer as a normal hospital will have. Actually, it's very similar to a small hospital. So I believe the impact's going to be relatively minimal. We'll see, but I don't anticipate a large impact. Do you?
No, but we do have expansion coming in Ocala, don't we?
Yeah, well, I've been told, and that's what we're going to find out Friday. I'm hoping that's going to be one of the announcements, that this local clinic finally is going to be able to expand a little bit into some more office space over there, because right now they're stacked on top of each other. Matter of fact, we complained to Congressman Yoho and Nugent about the terrible conditions that the staff have to work in and patients have to endure, but I understand they're going to expand, and they've signed some contracts to expand within the Cascades. What I would like to see is the VA to have all their facilities, meaning their hearing and audio and all of that, and eyesight also in the same area. I don't know if that's going to happen, but they've almost doubled in size in terms of staff in the last few years on the same space. So it's like working a real estate office where you have to share the desk all the time. And for patients and staff, it's just not right. So I understand that's probably going to be announced very soon, and I talked to some of the VA people who told me that they've signed the contracts for expansion. So that should be happening. I think we're probably out of time. Need to move on, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, listen, thanks for coming in, Greg. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your cooperation on that veteran thing, and tell you every week, guys and ladies, I appreciate your service, and God bless America, everybody.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.